You know, let me tell you about what greatness is. Too often, we think that the great person is the one with the microphone. Okay? If you want to recognize greatness, then what you do is look in front of you, look in back of you, and look to both sides of you, because those persons are the great persons. What you need to understand, if there all of this space in the world, and for some reason, God put you all in this space together at the same time in this small space, that you have something in common with each other. You need to understand all of the things you could have done today, all of the places you could have been, but somehow all of you ended up here together. So what's important about that? It's important that when you leave today, you make sure that there's a minimum of 2 persons that you did not know when you walked in this door that you know when you're going out. Not necessarily because she's beautiful, and not necessarily because he's handsome. That may help, but the key issue is the commonality of purpose that brings you together. Whatever is important to you for your success, there's someone in this room who can help you accomplish that. Whatever is important for your children, your wife, your husband, your mother, your father, there's someone in this room who can help. So you need to find them out, who they are. Harlem, let me just mention, Harlem, when we talk about Harlem, we are not talking about a community that exists in Upper Manhattan. We're not talking about a neighborhood, because most people, when they talk about Harlem, they don't know what Harlem is. Harlem is an area, technically, between 96th Street and 168th Street, from the Harlem River to the Hudson River. Any of you who drive up FDR, or you're in a car FDR, you notice that there's a big marble sign when you get to 96th Street that tells you it's the Harlem River now. So in Harlem, there are 4 areas. There's East Harlem. Some of us call it El Barrio. There's West Harlem, 96th Street to 145th Street. And there's Lower Washington Heights. Oftentimes, when we think about Harlem, we think about Central Harlem, because most of the iconic areas are in Central Harlem, whether that's the Apollo or all of those Sylvia's, whatever. What's my point? My point is Harlem is an international community, and it has always been. A community for Germans, a community for Jews, a community for Italians, for Cubans, for Dominicans, for Puerto Ricans, from persons from China. Harlem has always been that. And if you look at this room, you see it is even more that. Yes, a few years ago, the hue and color of the people who said they were from Harlem were more dark than is this hue and color today. Yes, they weathered the storm. And many of you who are here today are here because they weathered the storm. But the most important thing is you're here. So let me just end on that point. Harlem is a state of mind. If you were in Ferguson, Missouri, if you're in Roxbury, if you're in Watts, if you're in Compton, if you're in the South Bronx, if you're in Kingston, Jamaica, you are in a Harlem state of mind. Okay? Harlem is the best known community in the world. and forget the ego, forget the Chamber of Commerce speech. Virtually anywhere that you go in this world, that they know that there are people of color in America, they've heard of Harlem, okay? Whether it's the Harlem Globetrotters or whatever it is. And so take advantage of that. I grew up in a block that strong Italian families in my block, strong Jewish families in my block, strong Chinese families in my block, persons from like Lloyd Douglas and I from Jamaica, from Grenada, from Barbados, etc., all in the same block. It's a Harlem state of mind. And so wherever you go, you're in Arizona, you're in Seattle, you are in Peking, and you say Harlem, inevitably they have heard about it. And if they haven't heard, they'll ask you. So you're Harlemites. You're in Harlem right now. So now the question is, what's your responsibility to it? Okay? Technology is very important, but only important if the least fortunate can benefit from it. Okay? What happened with Silicon Valley made a few people millionaires, billionaires, etc. What's happening here is going to create jobs. It's going to create careers. It's going to create new businesses. It's going to open up doors. When we first got together with this gentleman who I just think the absolute world of, Clayton Banks. We decided we were going to do something together. And so we started on July 26th, right by U.S. Grant National Memorial Park, in Socorro Park, with robotics for children. And we started talking about all the things that we wanted to do, Mal, and something hit me, Mal, and I said, but what about our seniors? What about our seniors? Because when we're talking about technology, they're left out. That's something they can't comprehend. It's too advanced for them. You know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, all of that stuff. But what about those seniors that are locked in their apartment and afraid to come out because health-wise they can't move or economically they can't move? What about allowing them through technology to communicate with their grandchildren in Georgia, or their grandchildren in New Jersey, or their grandchildren in Puerto Rico through technology? You know what would happen with them if we would open up that world for them so they could talk to their sister who they have not seen for 5 and 6 and 10 years? We can do that for them. What about prescription drugs? That if we could let them use technology to know how to master that, they could better take care of themselves. So we started looking at that, and we did something called demystifying technology for seniors. I didn't know what would happen. Would anyone come? And we had over 150 seniors came out, and they were engaging. They were the ones asking the questions. And if you guys could have been there on Saturday at our Children's Foundation, a lot of that is out of Fred Crawford, said, let's do something with our Children's Foundation. And we did hackathons at our Children's Foundation. If you could have seen it, if you could have seen these young people grouped around tables, 20 tables on this floor, 15 tables on that floor, just dealing with music, dealing with health, dealing with community service with your hackathons. And so you're here today. So I challenge you. You being here today is good, but if everyone in this room would get on the phone and call someone and challenge them to call someone and challenge them to call someone, because I want to see you on Saturday. That's when I want to see you, not today. This is easy. On Saturday, we're doing an event called Our Lives Matter. We're focused on our lives, whether it is in Charleston in a church, whether it is in Staten Island with someone being choked, whether it is in Aurora, whether it is 26 little babies in Newtown, Connecticut, whether it is shootings in the Bronx, Brooklyn, our lives matter. And to the extent that we think it's black lives that matter, we're making a mistake. Because of course black lives matter. Of course that's the prime issue. But if we don't focus on our lives mattering, why should someone be concerned about my life if we're not concerned about theirs? Our lives matter. And so we're telling you, pass the word. Come out on Saturday to West 135th Street. And by the way, if you need information, we have it. Just go to any of the Harlem Week stuff. We have it that you can get our numbers and our emails and all of that stuff. 135th Street between Frederick Douglass and St. Nicholas Avenue from 11:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. We have Alvin Ailey Dance Company coming out to say Our Lives Matter. We have Nona Hendrix from LaBelle coming out to say Our Lives Matter. We have The Last Poets coming out to say Our Lives Matter. We have Impact Repertory Theater Company coming out to say Our Lives Matter. We have a lot of people coming out to say Our Lives Matter. And we decided that what we're going to do is salute NAN, National Action Network. Now, tell you why. You know, they kind of like program to us who's relevant and who's not. Let's see now. There's something really messed up about Reverend Al Sharpton, okay? But Donald Trump is leading the polls. Somebody explain that. Okay? Someone explain that. What sort of standards are we setting that we can put down people and leading the polls is Donald Trump? What's that saying about us in this country? So come out to Our Lives Matter. And then on Sunday, Harlem Day, our biggest day, those of you who are into automobiles, be about 150 antique automobiles in Harlem on West 135th between 5th and Malcolm X Boulevard. We're going to have a health village with thousands of people getting health information, testing, and all different types of things. We have the USTA tennis clinics, free to everybody, all ages coming out. We have the Harlem Globetrotters doing basketball clinics. We have all of that, but the most important thing is we are taking that day to pay tribute to the 90th anniversary of the birth of someone who I'm proud to say was my godfather, and that's the 90th anniversary of the birth of Malcolm X. And we're asking you to come on out. We're asking you to come out, and especially those who don't understand Malcolm, especially those who are white, come out, because you're going to find yourself right there. You're going to find yourself right there and say, damn, I didn't understand what I was being pulled away from, okay? It's also the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X. But we're not going to be focused on negatives. The whole thing you're going to see is Malcolm with a smile, okay? Because that's who he was. And so we're saying, come out. This partnership we have with Silicon Harlem is just beginning. Just beginning. And we're here to support this young man and encourage him. We need you. Those young people need you. If you could have seen those young people at Our Children's Foundation. Come on out this Saturday and Sunday at Our Children's Festival, 2-day festival, where they'll be having all types of information and games and all of those things around technology. They need you. They need you to come up and talk to them, because they may be 6'4", they may weigh 220 pounds, but they're 11 years old and they need a hug. And there's nobody hugging them. Nobody is hugging them. And nobody is giving them help, and nobody's giving them direction. Nobody's saying, how are you? What you doing? What you need help on? And that's not just in our communities. You think black people got it bad? You go to the Ozarks and see what they doing with them white people. You think that we got it bad compared to what they're doing in West Virginia with the poor white people? You think they got it bad? Go to those Indian reservations and see what they're doing to them. So the bottom line is our lives matter. And you come on out and support Harlem Week. You support Clayton Banks. And most importantly, remember, if you leave out of here and you don't meet at least 2 persons that you did not know, when you walked in the door, you missed the boat. Thank you.
I'm afraid to touch the mic. It's a little, whew.